Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me watching this video. Today we will be making memory stick holder. So I have made two of them already. That was the first one that I made, and this is the second one. So we will make one just like that. You can, in each compartment you can store 5 memory sticks. And I chose to do this project because I have quite few of these. I do have them, and I have some family movies recorded on these. I do have some pictures that I really don't want to lose. So I do have printed pictures, but I like to also store them on my memory sticks. So this is how I came up with this design. I think it's just beautiful. I think that it's such a great gift idea, just about for anybody. And little packet on the middle. It has little flags, little sticky notes. I thought it would be a good idea just to maybe mark them on each individual space. Maybe you want to put little stickers with the numbers and list them all on your sticky pads, just so you know which memory stick is where. So this is totally up to you, but I thought that this would be just such a great idea. I definitely use both of them, and I will use the third one that we will just make now. For the outside cover, I will use cardstock. This is 12 by 12. It came from the pack. And we will pre-cut this. Right now, it's about 12 inches high, and I will pre-cut this to 10.5. So we're gonna make the height. And I want to cut off 10.5. And 10.5. So the 10.5 height we will glue together, just like this. Okay. And now we will start gluing our chipboard. The way we're gonna glue it, it's 5.5 by 8.5, 1.5 by 8.5, another piece 5.5 by 8.5, then 1.5 by 8.5, and the last piece 2 inches by 8.5. So when we are positioning our chipboard, we need to make sure that the two cardstocks where they were glued together, this is the joint, that it's not close to the edge of any of your pieces. It should be somewhere in the middle, or at least 1 inch away from the edge of any of your chipboard. So we're gonna glue these pieces together. Just like that, leaving approximately 1/8 of an inch space in between the chipboard. So to make sure that you glue all of them straight, I would suggest to put the ruler or something right underneath while you are placing your pieces to make sure that all across everything is nice and even. So I will glue these pieces to the cardstock and I will be right back. Okay, I have all my pieces glued. So now we need to remove the excess of the paper in here. We're gonna leave approximately 1 inch. So we will cut it just like that. Okay, now we will score all around the chipboard. We will fold that. Just like that. And now I'm gonna go over all around with the spatula to create those really nice corners. I think this gives really nice professional look to your finished piece. So now we can just miter the corners. Don't go too much on an angle because you don't want any of this chipboard to show. So the way I miter, I cut and I leave a little bit of the paper right here in between the cut and the chipboard, just about the thickness of the chipboard. So then you wrap it really nicely and you have this really nice professional look. So now we can glue all that cardstock all around, and let's make sure we squish it so the glue nicely spreads and adheres. And we will do that all around. Okay. Just make sure that everything is nicely stuck. And the last side. Now if you want, you can just round these corners a little bit. Kind of push them so they are not that sharp. And we got everything wrapped. Now I'm going to push the spatula a little bit on that cardstock in between all of the chipboards, just to make sure that this is glued, and this will really help us in folding the whole entire cover. So now you can see we have our cover made. So now we will work on the inside, and then we will cover the back, but we're gonna do this one step at a time. So now we're gonna pre-cut the cardstock to cover all those spaces in between the joints, in between the chipboard. I have some of that cardstock left from whatever we cut out. So I'm gonna cut approximately 1.5 inches. Those are gonna be 2 pieces, 1.5 inches. And I just don't want this line in here showing, so I'm gonna be just shy a little bit of that 1.5 inches, but that will not make any difference. So I have 2 pieces. Now the height of that piece will be 8 inches. So we're gonna cut both of them to 8 inches. And now we're gonna need to, so the pieces that we cut, they will be placed right here. Now we need to cut this piece. So this piece we're gonna cut to 4.5 inches, and the height will also be 8 inches. Now this piece we will have to score. So we're gonna score at 1 inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 2 3/4, and 3.5. So right on the middle, when you have the space, 1/2 inch space, we will just fold that in half and then fold it the other way, just like this. So we are creating this almost like an M shape. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna apply glue right here and glue those 2 sides together, just like that. So this piece will be placed right here. So now we will glue these pieces, and wherever we made the mark right here in between the chipboard, that's gonna be our guide where we need to place the score marks on this piece. So let's just glue this. And I'm trying to align those scores just like that. Let's make sure it's stuck on both sides. So now we can glue those 2 pieces. And I'm also trying to position them on the middle, paying attention to the top and the bottom, just so they are spaced out just about evenly. It doesn't have to be exactly, but it's helpful when it's close enough. Okay, our cover is just about done. So now we will help to fold those pages just like that. So I'm pushing this spatula a little bit against the corner and kind of picking up this side. Just like that. And we do the same thing on the opposite side. Now when you do this, make sure that the spatula that you are using doesn't have sharp edges, so you wouldn't cut the paper. Okay, so now our cover is done, and I can see a little bit white in here. You can touch up a little bit with a little ink just to make it really nice and pretty. And this is distressing ink. I think I bought it on Amazon. So now we will be working on covering the inside and the outside of this. To cover outside, I will use this paper. It came from this collection, which I purchased in Walmart. It is a really pretty collection. I believe it was $10. It is printed on both sides, and it has really beautiful designs. At least I love just about all of them. In some cases I'm not sure if I should be using this side or the opposite, but this is the paper I will use. So we need to cut the paper. So I will cut, we're gonna need, the height is 8.5, so we need to cut the height to 8.25. So I will just do my cuts on both sheets, 8.25. And now the width, we're gonna need 5.25, and we will need 2 pieces. Now this is the piece left. I can pre-cut this one. And this one is damaged on the bottom, I won't use it. So we have this one left. So we're gonna cut to the height to 8.25. And we need 1.25. We will need 2 pieces. And one more. And then we will need one more piece, 8.25 by 1.75. Now for the inside, I will cut the paper also, and they are going to be the same dimensions as we cut it for outside. So the height is going to be 8 1/4. I have to change my cutting tool because the blade is dull in the other one. So we're gonna cut 5 1/4, one more 5 1/4, then we will need one that is 8 1/4. Use this side. By 1 1/4. One more 1 1/4. And then I will need another piece, 8 1/4 tall and 1 3/4 wide. Okay, so we will start gluing from the inside, and I will use, for this one, I will use magnets. The magnet is about 3/8 wide, and I think this is really thin one, maybe 1 millimeter. So I am gonna apply, actually I'm gonna use double-sided tape just so this magnet doesn't move, and I will apply it approximately 1/2 inch from the border, and this is on a side that measures 2 inches. I will apply, maybe it's too many, but I will apply 3 magnets. Just like that. So now we can remove the backing. And because I'm applying magnets, this is why I'm gonna start from the inside. So we take the piece that measures 1 3/4 by 8 1/4, and we will apply it just like that. So let me just apply glue. All around. And now we are trying to position on the middle, just like that. So now we're gonna try to smooth out with the spatula Go with the spatula around those magnets just to make sure that all the paper adhered. Just like that. So now we need to apply magnets to the opposite side. So to do that, I usually position magnets just like that to see where they are on this side. Then I take double-sided tape and put right underneath that magnet and try to make that stuck. And I do that to all 3 of them. Just like this. Okay, so now when you close your cover, just make sure that everything is lined up, your cover is lined up. So when you close it with your fingers, try to kind of push this, so you see, so this adheres. And I need to get right there to the middle. And now we know what the position of the magnets should be on a cover. So now, let me just make sure that this is all stuck. We can remove this tape. And now we can position our cover paper. Just make sure that it is aligned the way you want it positionally. So if this is going to be your front, you don't want this to go upside down. Make sure that you position the way you want to see it when it's open. So I'm just going to apply glue right here. Go around. And let's just place this. Again, I'm trying to position this approximately 1/8 of an inch distance all around to make sure that it is straight. Work around those magnets to make sure that the paper adheres. Just be careful, don't break the paper, depending on the thickness of your paper. Just don't push it too hard. So now, when we close it, it's gonna hold. So, good thing I placed 3 magnets. It's holding nicely. So now we're gonna cover all of the inside and outside the same way. So I'm gonna do only one more with you, and then I will just finish off camera. So I'm gonna apply glue all around. And now when I position, I try to position again on the middle in between those scores, and I'm paying attention to kind of at least keep it on the same level as the first one you applied. So now I'm going to continue and cover the front and the back, and we are doing everything the same way as I just showed you. Okay, so my cover is done on the inside. Now for the inside, we cut 2 strips at 1¼ but I had to cut that down into 2 strips, 1/2 inch each one, because I forgot we are keeping this as a for a packet. So you need 1/2 inch by 8¼ on each side. So this is how I wrapped it on all sides. So now we will be working on a packet, on this packet right here. So for that packet we need to cut cardstock. So we will need 1 piece 8¼ by 5¼ and we will need 1 more piece 5¼ by 9¼ the 9¼ piece we will have to score 1/2 inch on one side, turn around and score 1/2 inch on the other side. So now when we fold that, and take our other piece, we will glue it just like this. So the 2 flaps on the inside, and we glue into this piece. So we apply glue right here, and we will glue this just like that. Let's make sure that this is stuck. And we do the same thing to this side. Just like that. Let's make sure that the whole thing is straight. Okay, and that will be our packet, which we will mount just like that. But before we mount it, it's going to be easier to decorate those sheets now than later. So if this piece is 5½, actually 5¼ inches wide, then we need to cut our paper to 5 inches, and okay, 5 inches, and we're gonna need 2 pieces. I can use this one on one side. And now the packet is 8 1/4, so we need to cut down the height into 8 inches. So this is 8, and we will cut this one down to 8 inches. So now we're gonna glue it just like that on one side and this one to the other. Okay, I applied paper onto both sides. Our packet is ready, and now we can glue all together just like this. Now to glue this, you can do it a few different ways. I am just gonna apply a little bit glue right here. You could apply double sticky tape. So now I'm just putting the little tab right on the inside, just like that. Make sure that you glue it straight, so pay attention to your borders. Okay, so now when we turn it around, I just put my glue on the inside and just run it all across. And let's just make sure it's stuck. And now we just create that page with the little packet right on the inside. So now we're gonna be able to work on these packets. And these packets and the inside insert on the inside. To make the packets, I will use cardstock, and we will need 4 pieces, 7 inches wide by 3 inches. So we got 1, 2, 3, let me cut this 3 inches here, and then 7 inches this way. We will also need 4 pieces, 5 by 3, and that will be for the top flap. So that's 3, and we need 1 more. 3 by 5. Okay, so this is going to be for the top. These longer ones are for the bottom, and we will need to cut paper for the flap for decoration. So we will cut 4, I gotta put it this different way, 4 3/4 by 2 3/4, and we need 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, that's gonna be for the top flap. Now the top flap, the cardstock, we will have to score at 1/2 inch each piece. So all 4 pieces we are scoring at 1/2 inch. And now we will trim from the score. We will make little angle. So when we glue those pieces, you won't see anything sticking from behind of the cover. Just like that. And now we can fold them. And I also like to round my corners. So you could use scissors. I'm just gonna use this to round them. Okay. So we will apply this just like that, and it seems like it's a little bit too long, so I need to cut another 1/2 inch. So let me just cut this. So this should be really 2 1/2. So this is the decoration for the top. Let's just double check. A little bit more. So we're gonna do 2 1/4. So let's cut all 4 of them. And I will also round the corners. Only on one side. Okay, so now those are going to be our covers, and we can glue we can glue this to the top, and you try to position them straight. So here is one, and we do the same thing to all four. Okay, so I have 4 of them glued. So now we will work on the bottom portion, and we need to score these. So we will score side at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Turn it around 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then the long way, we're gonna score also 1/2 inch and 1 inch. So we will do the same thing to all 4 pieces. All around 1/2 inch, not around, 3 sides, 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Okay, so I will just fold this over and on each piece we need to cut out this entire square, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 little squares. We will cut this out on both sides. Now the top side, this side, we're gonna just cut an angle only from the beginning to that one score, just like that. And then on the bottom side we will do the same thing, only from the beginning to that first score, just like that. So this is how your piece should look like. We cut out the square over here to the first score. We cut out little V shape, and the same thing on the top, only to the first score. And we will do that to all 4 pieces. Okay, so I trimmed all of the 4 pieces, so that's gonna be for the bottom. And now we will work on an insert. So for the insert, we will need cardstock. We will need to pre-cut to 9 inches. Now we're gonna take the scoring board, and this is the 9-inch dimension. We will score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches, 2.5, 3.5, 4, 5, 5.5, 6.5, 7, 8, and 8.5. So what you're gonna end up with, and I'm trying to make sure that you can see it. So it's a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Then you got space 1 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1/2 inch, all the way to the end. The end portion is going to be also 2/2 inches. So now we're going to pre-cut this. So all our scores are going from top to bottom, so we're going to turn it sideways. So now our scores are going across, and we need to cut 4 pieces at approximately 2 inches. Don't go any larger, you could go a little shorter, so you might have 1 inch and let's just say it 3/8, but don't go more than 2 inches wide. And we're gonna need 4 pieces. Okay, so those are our scored pieces. Which we will fold just like that. Now we will take the bottom pieces that we pre-cut already. Let's turn it on the wrong side. And now we will make little marks. If you fold the flaps, you should have 5 inches. So I will make little marks with the pen, just so you can see it. I hope you can. Every 1 inch. So now I'm gonna take my ruler and I will just join those lines. And I will show you why. Okay. And here is your score. And here is your score. So now we will start gluing these pieces together. So position your piece just like that. The straight line towards you and the cutouts towards the outside. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna glue them just like this. So I'm gonna apply the glue right here at the beginning. And I'm gonna glue this right here to this edge. Just like that. You can fold it over to make sure it's nice and straight. Just like this. So now when you fold that, you can see that we are creating the first pocket for our sticks. So now the second portion that is 1 inch wide, we're gonna apply glue and we're gonna glue it right here to this second space. Just like that. So you can see you got your first pocket. And now we align the score with our marks and this piece is being glued. So let me just make sure that this is stuck. So now I'm going to pick up this piece and create another pocket. Just like that. So you can see that we will line up and glue this portion into the base. So you can even apply glue into this part. So you're leaving this one alone, and we apply glue into this part. So now when we create the packet, you are aligning your scores into this line that we created. See, so all of them are aligned. So let's make sure that this is stuck, and we got only one more left. And the last one, we're gonna glue this flap to the inside, aligning with that last mark. Just like that. I'm gonna squish this from the inside just to make sure that it's stuck. And this is our packet. So now I'm gonna take that bottom piece and I'm gonna apply the glue. So what we're gonna do is glue this into this base. So I'm gonna apply glue to the first one. It's too much glue. To the middle one and to the last one. So now when I close this, I push it from inside just like that, and I'm trying to make sure that those squares are somewhat straight, just like that. So when I'm happy with the position of those squares, now I can turn it upside down and just push it a little bit to make sure that this is all stuck. We can probably squish it from inside just to make sure that the glue grabs it. And now those flaps we can glue right here around it and towards the back, just like this. And the same thing on the opposite side. Around and on the back. So as you can see, we got our first packet done. And we can glue it to our base. So let me apply glue, and we're gonna apply glue all the way around. Just like this. And try to position on the bottom, on the middle, from side to side. And if you can see it, I can still see a little bit base. Then we're just gonna glue it just like that. So I'm gonna make the other 3 packets and I will be right back. Okay, so I have created additional 4 packets. And we can glue these in. So just like the first one we did, I'm gonna apply glue all around. And I will position a little bit higher. You want to make sure that you leave in enough space in between so you can actually put your memory sticks. So these are done. Let's glue these on this side. So I'm trying to position this one just about on the same level as we did the previous one. Just like that. And the last one. Again, I'm gonna try to position about on the same level, just so they are proportional. And now you could put something on a tab just to make sure all of the sides get really stuck. Maybe a book or something. But for this video I will just continue. Normally I would wait a few minutes, but I would like to continue with the project. So now we have our tops. We could kind of bend them a little bit, just like that, so they will actually kind of fold. So we will apply glue right here. Make sure that you overlap enough right here so we can put little Velcro dot. Alright, let's make sure that this is stuck. We will do the same thing to the one on the top. Let me just fold it a little, just so the little curve is created. I mean, eventually it would curve on its own, just because of the Velcro dot. But and now this one, when I'm positioning, I'm also looking to make sure that it's kind of on the middle of that base. So now let's make sure that this is stuck like that, and we do the same thing to those two. Just like this. I've got to bend this one, but even if you bend that just a little bit like that, it will work. Not too hard, you don't want to make any creases. Now, if you like this project, I would really appreciate if you would hit like button, share, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It helps my channel a lot. Okay. So now we got these done. Now I will apply Velcro dots. I try to position them on the middle. Oops. Now when you open it, just Just push it a little bit to make sure it sticks. And we do the same thing to this side. Okay. Now, if you don't want to use magnets, you really don't have to. You could use also 2 Velcro dots, and that would be perfectly fine. Over here, I had placed sticky pads. In here you can make a little packet, but this is pretty much the project. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you soon in my next video.